Welcome to History Revealed. Today, we'll explore a fascinating aspect of colonial Lima, the lives of high society women and wet nurses. In colonial Lima, elite women cared deeply about their appearance and social standing, and many chose not to breastfeed their own children. Instead, they relied on wet nurses, most of whom were Afro Peruvian or of mixed African descent from humble backgrounds. The hiring of wet nurses was not just a social practice. It was a status symbol. Wealthy households often advertised for wet nurses in local papers, specifying desirable traits such as health, robustness, and temperament, a stark reminder of the racial and class hierarchies of the time. During the first months of a child's life, wet nurses spent much of the day inside the homes of the wealthy, feeding the babies several times a day. The constant physical closeness often led to deep emotional bonds, sometimes even stronger than the initial connection with the biological mother. Contemporary accounts note that these caregivers influenced many aspects of the children's early lives, from lullabies and daily routines to subtle cultural habits, a form of informal influence that left lasting marks. Yet the practice also drew criticism. Some medical and social observers of the era were concerned about the hygienic conditions of the wet nurses, who often came from poor neighborhoods with lower standards of sanitation. Critics questioned the logic of entrusting vulnerable infants to caregivers from environments perceived as unhealthy, solely to spare elite mothers the inconvenience of breastfeeding. This tension highlights the cultural, economic, and racial dynamics embedded in the custom. Social prestige often trumped practical concerns, and the wet nurse became a complex symbol of those intersecting forces. The lives of these wet nurses were lived between two very different worlds. By day, they remained inside the walled city, among palaces, churches, and elegant homes. But by late afternoon, they passed through massive gates and returned to the outskirts, where their families and communities lived. Colonial Lima, in effect, was a city of two faces, the protected, elegant center and the humble neighborhoods beyond. Each day, wet nurses moved between these realms, silent witnesses and unsung participants in the lives of the powerful. Stories like this help us better understand daily life in colonial Lima. If you want to discover more secrets and curiosities of our history, join me on History Revealed and discover my book about the first Afro-descendant physician of Peru.